The story opens on a gray, wet afternoon in the city. Rain has just stopped, and the roads are slick with muddy puddles. The camera pans slowly across a busy street, showing puddles reflecting the sky, dirty water running along the gutters, and ordinary people walking carefully around the mess. Then it finds him, an old man sitting quietly on a wooden bench near the roadside. His name is Papa Thomas. His clothes are simple and worn, his slippers faded and cracked at the soles. But there is something steady about the way he sits. Peaceful, unhurried. He had just finished sweeping in front of a small shop nearby and was resting before making his way home. He watches the street with soft eyes, unbothered by the noise and movement around him. Then a sound breaks through. The low growl of an engine. A sleek black Range Rover comes tearing down the narrow road, moving fast and arrogant, like the road belongs to it alone. Before anyone can shout a warning, the car plows straight through a large muddy puddle near where Papa Thomas is sitting. A wave of dirty brown water explodes into the air and crashes over the old man completely. He gasps and throws his hand up, but it is too late. His shirt, his trousers, his slippers, everything is soaked through with muddy water. He sits there dripping, blinking, wiping his face slowly with his palm. People nearby stop walking. They turn and stare. A woman nearby raises her voice at the car. The car does not stop immediately. It rolls forward a few more feet before finally coming to a halt just ahead. For a moment, nothing happens. Then the tinted window slides down, and a woman's voice floats out. Proud, sharp, and completely without remorse. She tells the old man he should not have been sitting so close to the road, that this is not his village. Then the window goes back up, and the Range Rover speeds away. The crowd is stunned. People exchange looks and angry words. One man cannot close his mouth. A woman calls her wicked. Someone else says she could not even say sorry. But through all of it, Papa Thomas simply raises one hand and speaks quietly. He tells them it is okay to leave her, to let God judge. The crowd murmurs, but the old man's calm never breaks. Inside that black Range Rover, the woman behind the wheel is Vanessa. She arrives at a luxury shopping mall looking like she owns the world. She steps out, walks in with her chin high, and within minutes she is on her phone, snapping a selfie. She posts it online with a caption that says only the strong walk over the weak. The comments come flooding in, praising her, calling her a queen. She smiles. To her, what happened on that road was nothing. She had built her entire life on the belief that poor people had no value and no right to be in her way. Meanwhile, Papa Thomas makes his way home. The camera follows him through the streets as the evening light fades. He arrives at a wide gate and walks into a large, beautiful mansion. The living room has fine furniture, soft rugs, and artwork on the walls. This is the home of his son, Bernard, a wealthy and successful businessman who is quiet about his money and generous with his kindness. Bernard looks up from his tablet when his father walks in and immediately notices the stained shirt. He sighs and asks what happened. Papa Thomas sits down and tells him about the woman. Bernard rubs his forehead. He has had this conversation before, not about rude women exactly, but about why his father insists on going out to sit among ordinary people instead of staying home and resting. He tells his father he does not need to do this. He lives in a mansion. He has everything. Papa Thomas looks at his son with steady eyes and says simply that he will never stop, not until he finds a good woman for Bernard. Bernard goes quiet for a second, then admits quietly that he already has a girlfriend. Papa Thomas leans forward immediately, eyes sharp and alive. He asks who she is, where she is from, what she does. Bernard tells him he will meet her soon, that she is beautiful. Papa Thomas lifts an eyebrow and says beauty is not everything. Bernard agrees, but then hesitates and tells his father there is a problem. She is rude, he admits. She talks down to people. She is proud and spends money without thought, buying expensive things just to show off. Papa Thomas shakes his head in silence. Bernard says he stayed because she is beautiful, because sometimes she is sweet, because he thought maybe he could change her. Papa Thomas asks whether she respects Bernard. Sometimes, Bernard says. Whether she respects herself, Bernard says nothing. The old man tells his son to bring her home. He wants to look at her with his own eyes. He wants to look into her face. If he sees humility, he will bless the relationship. If he sees pride, he will say so, even if it stings. Bernard agrees. Papa Thomas adds one thing before they finish. Do not tell her anything special about who the family is. Let her come as she is. He does not want to surprise her. He wants her to surprise herself. Days pass. Papa Thomas goes back out into the city, this time sitting quietly outside a large supermarket. He wears simple clothes and sets a small plastic bowl in front of him. Some people drop coins. Most do not even look. He does not beg. He just sits and watches the world. Then he hears it again. The sound of a car stopping sharply. Vanessa steps out, dark glasses on, loud music still spilling from her car. She sees Papa Thomas and hisses. She walks toward him and starts talking. The words she uses are cruel. She calls him dirty, useless, a disgrace to his generation. She tells him poor people like him have no shame. She tells him he is the reason things are the way they are. She spits near his feet. He says nothing. He does not flinch. Then from the entrance of the supermarket, a young woman with 2 grocery bags stops and watches. She puts her bags down and steps forward. Her name is Mary. She tells Vanessa that is enough. Vanessa turns on her immediately, asking who she is. Mary says someone with sense. The two go back and forth. Vanessa mocks her, calls her a poor rat trying to feel important. Mary stands her ground with calm fire, telling Vanessa she is insulting a man old enough to be her father for no reason other than the way he looks. Vanessa shouts that she is rich and can have Mary arrested in 2 minutes. Mary tells her plainly that being loud is not the same as being rich in character. Vanessa is shaking now, furious, threatening. Mary points at her and says calmly that one day this same man she is insulting will be someone she will need to kneel before. Vanessa storms back into her car and speeds off. Mary turns to the old man and apologizes. He looks at her gently and calls her his daughter. She sits beside him. They introduce themselves. She asks where he stays, and he tells her quietly about the empty store at the edge of town where the owner lets him sleep. Her face drops. He tells her not to feel sorry, that life has its seasons and he still has his peace. She looks at him for a long moment and then, without making a big speech about it, she makes an offer. She tells him she studied agriculture but has been out of school for a year with no job. She says instead of just sitting, maybe they can start a small farm together, even just behind the store. Pepper, tomatoes, vegetables. Food for him and something to sell. He looks at her in quiet surprise. She tells him she has nothing right now but she has strength, and that is enough to start. He is moved. She smiles and tells him to think fast, that even a small basket of okra can change something. They laugh together softly. When Papa Thomas gets home that evening, Bernard can see something is different about him. His father walks in with a wide smile. He tells Bernard he met someone today. He describes her not with words about beauty or fashion, but about her heart. He says she has dignity and courage. He tells Bernard the story of what happened at the supermarket, how Mary stood up for him without fear, how she sat beside him afterward without rushing, how she offered to help him farm. Bernard listens carefully. Then his father says her name. Mary. Bernard goes still. Papa Thomas tells Bernard he has always wanted to return to farming, that it is where he finds peace. Bernard had told him before to stop, that he was too old. But now he says that rest without purpose is just waiting to die. Mary reminded him of the man he used to be. She brought light back into his chest. Bernard is quiet for a moment. Then he clears his throat and tells his father that his girlfriend is coming the next day. Papa Thomas says that is fine. But he also says that today he already met the kind of woman this world needs. The following morning, Bernard slips out of the house early. He drives alone, no destination in mind, just needing air and quiet after everything with Vanessa. He ends up parked near a quiet stretch of land behind some local stores and walks to sit under a mango tree. The sun is just rising. Then he notices a young woman ahead, checking the soil with her fingers, a bag of seeds in one hand and a small hoe in the other. She is dressed simply, hair tied back, no makeup, no performance. He watches her quietly. She eventually looks over and smiles. Good morning. They exchange words. She tells him she is planning to start a farm. He says most young women, he knows, would not touch a hoe. She laughs and says she is not like most people. She tells him she studied agriculture, has no job yet, but has hands and a strong back. He is struck by her. She introduces herself. Mary. He tells her his name is Bernard. She tells him about the old man she met, how she is trying to help him. Bernard's heart beats a little faster, but he says nothing. She speaks about Papa Thomas without knowing who she is talking to. Bernard offers to help her plant the seeds that morning, and she raises an eyebrow at his clean shoes and soft hands. He says he can learn. She laughs and hands him a tool. 2 strangers, 2 worlds. one small piece of land. Later that afternoon, Papa Thomas is sitting at his usual spot when Mary comes walking toward him with a basket. She has brought fresh vegetables and boiled groundnuts. She tells him she found land through her uncle, a small space but enough for okra and vegetables. She asks when they can go. He tells her they cannot go tomorrow. She looks confused. He tells her to come to his house instead, gives her a small paper with the address, and says he will explain everything. She takes the paper, looks at it, shakes her head at how mysterious he is being, and agrees. Before she leaves, she tells him shyly that she met someone. A man, handsome and kind. Papa Thomas leans forward immediately, eyes wide and curious. She laughs and tells him to calm down, that they are just friends. He grins and says he is her second father now and must see this man with his own eyes. She walks away smiling. He watches her go and whispers to himself, "Let tomorrow begin the truth." That evening Bernard sits down and tells his father that he met someone today. A woman unlike the others. Beautiful but simple. Intelligent but calm. She was farming under the sun. Papa Thomas asks the name. Bernard says Mary. The old man closes his eyes for a moment and smiles quietly. Bernard says it is the first time a woman has made him want to sit and just listen. Papa Thomas says softly that he would like to meet her. Bernard says very soon. Papa Thomas whispers to himself that tomorrow they will meet in the most unexpected way. The next morning Mary stands in front of a large black gate holding her simple bag and the address. She looks up and down, double-checks the number, and whispers that this place is too fine. A security man steps out, and she tells him Papa Thomas invited her. He asks her to wait, then returns and opens the gate. She walks in slowly, stunned by the space, the flowers, the smooth-tiled driveway, the clean silence of it all. Then she hears footsteps. She turns and freezes. Bernard, the same man from the farm, standing there, looking at her. Their eyes lock. Bernard. He says her name at the same moment she says his. Then another voice comes from inside. Her eyes move past Bernard and find Papa Thomas walking out with a smile that fills his whole face. She gasps. She steps back. She looks between them. Wait. She turns to Bernard. You live here. She turns to Papa Thomas. You told me you sleep in a shop. The old man nods calmly. He tells her he wanted to see how people treated him when they thought he had nothing. Her eyes move from one face to the other. She covers her mouth. She cannot speak. Papa Thomas walks closer and says softly that he is sorry for hiding the truth, but that she showed him her real heart. She helped him when she believed he was a poor, homeless old man, and that is something rare. She looks at Bernard. He steps forward and tells her he did not know either. He had no idea she was the same person his father kept talking about. She shakes her head slowly. Papa Thomas tells her no one can now say she was chasing money. She followed her heart. She did not know anything. Bernard extends his hand. She takes it, and together they walk inside. Not as strangers, as something real. In the quiet of the living room, after Papa Thomas has gone to rest, Bernard sits beside Mary and takes her hand. He tells her he does not want to waste time. He says he loves her, that from the moment he saw her he felt something he had never felt before. He loves her strength, her calm, her courage, and the fact that his father loves her too. He tells her he wants to marry her as soon as possible. She looks at him, and after a moment says softly that she loves him too. That from the first morning near the farm she felt peace with him. She says yes. Bernard holds her hand tightly. Then she tells him there is something she must do first. She must go to the village and tell her parents. Bernard sits up straight. He says that cannot wait, and that is not all. He tells her his parents-in-law cannot stay in the village while he lives in a mansion. He says he has houses in the city and wants her parents to move. He wants them to stop farming. They have worked enough. It is time for them to rest. Mary stares at him. Tears fill her eyes. She tells him no one has ever said something like that to her before. He wipes her tears and says from today, her struggle is his struggle and her joy is his joy.